Have you ever sold something to somebody? Has anybody tried to sell something to you? What happened? Maybe you got a telephone call and you didn't recognize the telephone number and you went, spam filter. No, thank you. Could it be that you went through your email flow just recently and you didn't recognize the email address of an email and you just went, spam filter, delete? When was the last time you went through your LinkedIn feed and you recognized a sales video and you went, spam filter? Possibly last Saturday you were walking through town and somebody came up to you holding a piece of paper and you went, spam filter, no thank you. The poor person didn't even take a breath and wasn't even able to say what they wanted to say. Immediately our internal spam filter for sales situations goes up and we don't want to talk or listen to the person anymore. And this is quite normal because we know that in those situations this is not going to be a situation where somebody is going to respect our values. And the values I mean are that we are an independent person. We can think what we can think. We have challenges that we have and we would like to say what we would like to say. And if somebody doesn't respect that, our spam filter goes up and we don't listen anymore. If you're a business leader, if you're a sales manager, a sales professional, you would want to ask yourself, well, how can I break through that spam filter? You see, I am Coach Colin and I have been studying for the last 10 years how sales professionals and sales managers and business leaders in particular can break through the spam filter so that they can address the values and the audience of their customers. And this is about how can your message address the values of your audience and customers. Because what is quite amazing when somebody actually breaks through that spam filter that we all have. How is that possible? If you had been with me just a couple of weeks ago, you would have seen me on the phone. I was looking at the telephone number, I didn't recognize who it was, but I received the call just the same. And just seconds into the call, I realized this was a sales call. And I wondered, should I hang up? But I didn't. Because on the other side was Harry. Harry was somebody who broke through my spam filter because he was addressing my values. Of course he was asking questions and was listening to me. And he was uncovering my real needs. But what was amazing was when Harry hung up, I felt like I wanted to have another call from him. I was expecting his call the next time he called, despite I knew that it was going to be a sales call. My spam filter did not show up. So what had happened here? What I discovered was that Harry was using a very clear technique that I call addressing the values. Because this is something that you might want to use in your presentations, in your calls, in your emails even, or perhaps in videos that you are creating. And obviously, of course, Harry was asking questions. We all know that that is important. And could it be that you also know that it's important to listen then to the answers? And that is what Harry was doing as well. But Harry did something significantly different when he got started that made my spam filter relax. Because he was verifying in the first step who I was, what my interests were, and whether it was possible to talk to me. And that level of respect that Harry put there right up front gave me a big signal that he's talking to my values. Then, of course, he asked questions and he listened. But when he listened, he did something significantly different that many messages and salespeople that you might recognize, they don't really do. Because he spent time there in the listening to uncover what was really challenging for me. And when he was uncovering that, it felt like I was opening up to Harry to explain what my situation was really about. And when you explain something to another person, you actually give something to them. And when you give something to a person, you actually want something back. And Harry was good at giving something back. And what he gave back was actually the empathy of my situation, of my challenges. Because if you don't do that, the next time round, you're not going to share as much. You're not going to give as much. And let me ask you this. When was the last time that somebody empathized with your situation and your challenges? See? And the last step that Harry did here on this method, which I call communicating the values, he summarized. And at the moment that he summarized, I knew that the conversation was coming to an end. And what was really good was he didn't even have to schedule a new conversation. I knew that he would call because it was part of the summary. And I was actually closing the call, anticipating, hoping he would call again. Because I knew that when Harry would call me again, he would address my values in a similar way. And my spam filter would keep quiet. So if you're looking for creating a message, if you're looking for trying to convey something that is important to your audience or your customers, and you want your customers to listen so that their spam filter does not go up in the moment you come through the door, so to speak, you might want to use this method so that you're communicating the values and addressing the values of the other person. You would want to verify in the situation they are. You would want to ask, literally ask whether you're allowed to ask questions. You would want to listen so that you can uncover the underlying challenges and needs. You would want to empathize with those challenges and needs and the situation that the other person has. And you would want to summarize around the situation, around the conversation, and what is going to happen next. Let me ask you this now. Could it be that you're actually in the situation that you're challenged with goals and you need to achieve goals that you've never achieved before? Could it even be that you're committed to reach results that you have never reached before? Maybe you're doing and trying to sell and trying to convince people like you've always done. But is that really that is going to get you different results? How long will you continue in doing what you've always done? You see, the saying goes, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you always got. Could it be that you're in a situation where you actually want to get new things? So maybe it is a good idea to do things differently. Perhaps you should take the opportunity the next time you talk to your audience, to your customers, or even to your people. If you're a business leader, if you're a salesperson, and you would like to have a different results, perhaps you should address the values of your audience and your customers first. And if you would like to have support in doing that and learning and having so that you can create the courage so that you can break out of the pattern that you have today, maybe it would be a good idea to have a coach. So that is why I recommend training, I recommend coaching, so that you can develop skills and habits, so that you can achieve goals and achieve results that you've never achieved before. So what are you waiting for?